How's it going, everybody? Welcome back into the shop. As you know, this is part 2 of a 2-part video series on making Adirondack chairs. Now, I'm making 5 of these chairs for a client of mine. These chairs are pretty simple design. You saw in the first episode we kind of worked on the joinery. Basically got the frames put together pretty much to that point. We're going to start off on this video with the arms, getting the arms on. Then we'll move into putting on the seats and the backs. And then you get to see the chairs finished. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get right into it. Starting on the arms today, pretty certain, I'm trying to pull up the file right now in SketchUp, that I'm going to have to, I don't know. So, I was thinking the arms were going to be too long for the CNC, but it looks like they are about 28 inches. So we can fit the arms on the machine, cut out the entire profile, and we can cut out the through mortise. So we got to pull the part out of our SketchUp file. I've got it pulled up right here. These are the arms, and put it through our SVG generator, then drop it into Maker's Cam and pull it out of Maker's Cam and put it into easel, and then we will have the machine ready to carve. And from there, that's really it. Every morning, June cruises up to the shop and says good morning to me, and it's the cutest favorite part of my day. You want to eat some breakfast?
Yeah.
What do you want for breakfast?
I want to have
Come here.
a strawberry yogurt bagel.
Do you really? That sounds yummy. Can you see yourself on the screen?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Okay, so that did not work. Got this wrong. I actually messed up in the program which threw this mortise off. It's in the completely wrong location, so I'm putting a new one on the machine. Gonna remake it. Quick fix. Okay, so new arm. Whoa. Old arm. You can see the difference. Let me swap them. Old, new. The mortise on the new is closer to the edge than the one on the old, and that's exactly what we're going for. So with the arms all figured out, now I'm going to cut the tenons in the front legs. Here I'm testing the fit. I'm just doing this on my table saw with the dado stack. The key here is just to sneak up on it and get the setting you want, and then you can just batch it out and cut all of them. It's a fairly simple process, and it works pretty quickly. Test it. Oh yeah. Arm feels like a good height. Obviously, you can't really lean back. Yeah, man. Put your cold brewski right here. Chair. Time to move on. Okay, so you can see that that really worked well. The arm dropped on perfectly. It fits in there. It is all solid and secure. You can see here there's a little gap. I'm actually okay with that. I want there to be a gap there. It gives me a little play to get it in and out. I want it to be nice and tight on this side, on the 1/2 inch thickness, so I get a good glue joint. But we're going to put wedges in here, and that'll pop that out and lock that in place. One thing that on the original design, everything was just butt jointed together and screwed. If you don't put a dado and drop this arm into that leg, think about someone leaning down on this, pushing down. That's going to pop loose, or picking the chair up by the arms. You're going to pull that out. I mean, just screwing this to that with glue is a horrible way to connect an arm to a chair. It's not a good thing to do. Everything works out. Everything lines up good, so that's good to know. Really, I can start moving forward and getting these knocked out pretty quickly now. So I'll just glue the arms on now. I'm using Titebond 2, which is a really good exterior glue. It holds up well with moisture. Once I get the glue set, or the arm set in place, I'll come back and install some wedges into that tenon to kind of pin it in place. Okay, so when you're hammering in the wedges, you want to pay attention to the sound your mallet's making. The noise will tell you when to stop hammering these. You can go too far. You can listen for it. Right there. You hear the change in sound. Once you start hearing that, you can stop, because if you keep banging on the wedges trying to go in further, you can break them off, and sometimes they'll break from down inside the tenon, and it'll look really bad. Okay, so once I have everything wedged in place, I use my router to cut down the tenons to length. I have a jig I made out of 3/4 plywood with a hole in it that allows my router base to ride on something, and I use a spiral up-cut bit and just cut those tenons off to where they're about 1/8 inch above the surface of the arm. Okay, so you can see I've got this first frame all together. This has actually got 1 coat of oil on it. It looks really, really nice. I've got the arms on. We've got them all wedged with the 3 tenons. It looks really good. I've got these little supports right here under the arm, a little decorative detail, but it also provides some actual support to these arms, because if you came and sat on these without that on there, you would just break it right off. So the next step moving forward is obviously we have to make 5 more of these chairs. Now, I hate to put you through having to go back through the process of making this frame all over again. So the great thing about YouTube is I can magically make 5 chairs just appear. Okay, so there we have it all. Well, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we got 5 chairs. All the frames are built. Next step on this is to start putting oil on these. So what I want to do is go ahead and put a coat of oil on all the frames. So I've got that drying. I can come back hopefully tomorrow, hit everything with 320, resand them. And then while those are drying, we'll work on putting the seat slats on. It's quite a bit of work to do, short amount of time, so let's get to work. Okay, so I'm working on the first chair here with the seat slats. I've got 9 on each seat. What I want to do is just do 1 chair, figure it all out, and then I can go back and cut everything the way I need it to be, because some of these have angles cut on them. Some of them have notches to go around the arms. So if I can get 1 chair figured out and done, then that would make it easy to repeat all the other ones. There's a lot of pieces to go on these. Okay, so I've got the first 6 in. I've purposely left these 3 middle ones out, because now I've got to come in and mark out these notches, which it seems like a pain, and it kind of is, but once I do this and get it figured out on the first go around on this chair, I can go through the other ones and set it all up on the bandsaw and do it fairly quickly. But this is going to take a little time here to just figure out the angles, the notches, and all that stuff. Okay, so there is the seat all in place. I can improve in one spot here. I'm a little short on this middle piece. It needs to hit about where those are. Same over here. You know, there's a little difference there. I'm not a big fan of that. Now it's just a matter of setting everything up and repeating all these parts. I got to round over everything. I think it's a 1/4 inch round over. I've got angles to cut on multiple pieces. These are 108 degrees, 108 degrees, 108, and 112.5. So I just need to set up my system, go through it all, and then it's just a matter of placing all these on the chair frame. Alright, so I got all 5 chairs with seats. They all came out great. So the last thing to do on these is to figure out the back. There's really not a lot to do on the back other than taper. Each piece has the exact same taper. I think it's like an inch width change from the top to the bottom. So I think the top's 2 1/4 and the bottom is 1 3/4 or 2 or something like that. So I just need to set up a jig to cut those tapers. This is kind of a one-time use jig I made. But basically what will happen is I'll put the part in the jig and it'll cut the taper on one side of all the parts. Then I'll change the location pin on the jig, which is the part of the jig that is furthest away from my hand. I'll move it in a way that I can cut the taper on the other side of the part. Alright, so it is the following morning. I kind of left you guys hanging last night. My memory card filled up and I was too tired to deal with swapping it. Well, I didn't have one to swap out, taking all the files off and all that crap. So I just kind of stopped recording. I did get a chair together right here. I haven't cut the top arch on it. All the slats are tapered. The bottom holes are drilled and everything is oiled with 1 coat of oil. So we're moving along pretty good. This morning we're going to figure out, there's a slight radius on the top of this chair. We're pushing it here. It is Wednesday morning and gotta have them done today. So got a lot to do this morning. I'd like to have them all done by lunch if I can, so that I can clean this place up this afternoon and then chill out and take a little break. So let's get to work. Okay, so here's how this will lay out here. I've made the jig wide enough to where the top hits that top slat and the bottom should line up perfectly down the middle of that brace, giving me a straight line for my screws. I just screwed these all at 90. They're good on the middle one, but as they start to flare out here, you don't get a straight line with the screws and it just drives me nuts. Like I need all these to be in line. I can't handle a little bit of wobbly or deviation. So we're going to use this to mark out our screw holes as well. Hopefully this thing will flex. It's pretty stiff, but let's see here. Okay, so I'm sitting here thinking more about how I want to cut these this curve in here, and I think I'm actually going to do it with my little jigsaw and not take the slats off, and then come back with a belt sander. And if I can cut clean on my line and not split out, I think it'll work pretty good. And that's actually probably a lot easier than taking everything to the table saw and making a lot of multiple cuts. Could do it all in one quick pass. So I'm going to give that a shot and see how it works on this one, and if it feels like it goes well, I can do it on all of them. That's the way to do it right there. That works really well. Let me kind of give you guys the overall tour. You know, my favorite angle on these, I love the 3 mortise and tenons. You know, I like the side, but I love the way the backs look. You kind of have these slats that are kind of just floating on those 2 supports, and I think it looks super cool. And then the cedar, you know, I don't know if I'll ever work with it again. It was so like brittle and chips and breaks so easily, but beyond that, it's actually a really pretty wood. You can see how that arm just barely misses that back slat right there. And they're solid. We got good joinery. We know these are going to hold up and last a long time, and I know the client's going to enjoy them. They have a nice ranch out here not far towards Sisterdale, kind of on the Guadalupe River. I know they'll enjoy them, so that is a good thing. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Remember, you can support the channel by picking up some cool merch. You can head over to Bunker Branding, get that, help support me, help support what I do. I appreciate you guys tuning in always, and I hope you've enjoyed this project. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye. Take a nap with me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God!
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay, hey, you know what?
What?
Why don't you tell everyone at the camera bye? And say thank you.
Thank you. Is that who is it?
That's Mayor.
Who is
Do you think
that?
Mayor wants to sit in here with us? Come here for Mayor.
Come on, sit it.
Come on, Mayor.
But there's no room.
Come here.
There's no room.
Yay! There's Mayor.
Pizza,
Good boy, Mayor.
pizza.
Are you kissing his leg? Okay. We probably I gotta put oil on this chair real quick.
Yeah, I can. I'm going to watch put on oil like that.
You want to watch me?
Yeah.